What is up, y'all? This is Andy with Poster Grind, your neighborhood art director that designs movie posters for a living. Today, we're going to get busy and make some cool graphics using threshold, using step and repeat to create these halftone lines, and using some zigzag and then some typography and some texture. And I think you're really going to enjoy it and learn a few things. So without further ado, let's dive on in.
What?
All right, y'all, this is the template I'll be using today. It's 20 inches wide, 13.5 inches high with a resolution of 200. Once you have that, hit OK. Now we can go ahead and make our halftone lines. And there's a lot easier way to do this than just duplicating each line and moving them across. Today, we're going to use step and repeat. Let's go and make a new layer, hitting the plus sign. So now on that new layer, we can start to make our halftone grid / lines by using the rectangle tool. So go to rectangle tool and be sure already that your fill is set to black. Just click on fill and make that black and turn off your stroke. I'm just going to go up here to the top. It doesn't have to be perfect, and create that rectangle so that it goes all the way across the canvas. I'm going to manually input the height of our rectangle at 23, like Michael Jordan, and then hit enter. From here, we can start that step and repeat process by hitting Option Command T on a Mac and Alt Control T on a PC. And that's going to activate our step process and allow us to drag down another rectangle like so. And once you have it in place, this is a very important part, you need to hit enter. Now that tells it to stop the recording and allow us to work on the repeat. And so to repeat, all we have to do is hit Shift Option Command T on a Mac and Shift Alt Command T on a PC, and then keep hitting T so that it keeps making copies. And I'm going to do this all the way to the end of our canvas. I'm just going to go a little further just in case. Now I'm just going to click off that layer, click back on, hit V, and then just drag this up. And the reason I had a little extra is because I might want to squeeze this and make the lines a little thinner during the design process. The next move is to get a cool piece of photography. And I already went ahead and scoured envato.com, which has an amazing library of licensed stock photography that's all unlimited downloads for about $16 a month or $200 for the year. If you do use Envato, please use the affiliate link below. We appreciate it. Now, once you have that image, go ahead and mask it out. I'm going to do it quickly and it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to go up to Select, Subject, and then once it's selected, I'm just going to go to the mask icon down here, the little Japanese flag, and hit that. And now our background has disappeared. From here, we can go to Filter and add a little bit of blur by going to Blur, Gaussian Blur. And then I'm going to drop that down to about 5.6. Hit OK. And I'm going to do the same thing to our halftone lines, but first we need to turn that into a smart object by right-clicking Convert to Smart Object. Now we can go up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And we'll leave that at 5.6 as well. While we're here, let's go ahead and drag those lines above our photography. And now we can go ahead and add some thresholds. So I'm going to go down to our adjustment layers and then look for threshold, hit threshold, and like that we have a cool graphic. Now you can always play around with the threshold amount, but I'm just going to leave it at 128 for now. The other cool thing is that we can add an exposure. So I'm going back to our adjustment layers and looking for exposure. And once I find exposure, I'm going to increase that quite a bit. And you can see already that it plays with the threshold and makes the lines or makes the image more readable or less readable. So I'm just going to put this at 3.9. Now, if you guys want to add some typography, which works really well with this kind of a style, you can go ahead and do that too. So I'm going to go to New Layer, hit T on the keyboard, and then I'm just going to type out a word. Then I'm going to hit Command T, increase the sizing, and then I'm going to right click, Convert to Smart Object, and do the same thing by adding some blur by going to Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And then we can mess around with the blur on this. And the more blur, the more it's integrated with the lines and the more abstract it becomes. Cool. And then I'm just going to add one more word, the grind. Now I want to add a little bit more distortion or another effect to our halftone lines. And the cool one to use that I don't really use that often is zigzag. So selecting our line layer, I'm going to go up to filter, distort, and then to zigzag. And then once you're in zigzag, make sure it's on pond ripples, and then you can mess around with the amount, but you don't want it to be too crazy. So I'm gonna leave it at -6 and the ridges at 9. And that just wiggles the lines a little bit to give it, I don't know, just another effect. I'm looking at the image and I kind of want this eye to look a little better, and maybe this one as well. What we can do is go down to our image and then we can select the smart filter mask right here. Make sure that's selected, hit B, and then painting with black, you can paint away some of that Gaussian blur so that we get some of that eye detail to come back in. Same thing. And you can do that on the hair, maybe the hand a little bit, like that. What we can do now is turn this into its own graphic. But to do so, we need to create a new layer, and then we need to take a snapshot of our entire image by hitting Shift, Option, Command D. And then we're going to turn that into a smart object by right-clicking Smart Object. Now we can go ahead and make a selection by going to Select, Color Range, and then with the eyedropper, go ahead and drop it on the black, hit OK, go to your adjustment layer, Solid Color, and make sure that's on black, hit OK. And now we can turn this layer into a smart object. And like that, we have a layer where the whites are see-through, and you can basically place this anywhere you want it. But I want to have a little bit more fun by including some texture and asking if you guys have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button now. I really appreciate it. So now with that texture, I'm just going to drop that down below our graphic, make sure that it's turned on, and then I'm just going to double click on our graphic layer, go to Layer Styles, hold down Option, and drag that white arrow to the left. And that's going to blend with that layer below. And if we want to add a little color, we can go to the adjustment layer, gradient map, and go ahead and select a cool gradient map that works for your graphic. And like that, we have an awesome graphic. I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.